So where do I take the dogs? So you guys have seen the runs out here, the big chain link areas. So there are set runs that are just for the dogs on the adoption floor that you're going to be working with. And instead of having the gray or silver chain link, they're black, so that you can keep track of which ones you're supposed to use. There are about 6 of them. I'll show those to you on the tour at the end. So you're like, well, what are all these other runs? Like, why aren't they in those? So what's going on in the other runs? So the black ones are over there, and the more silver ones are kind of behind us here and over to the side. They're using those for the play groups that I talked about earlier. And they mainly use that one and that one because they're the largest, but there's one over here that they use as overflow. So if the dogs get out of hand or they get a maverick in there or somebody that needs to be removed quickly, like a dog that's about to start a fight or something like that, they need this open space over here to run the dog over quickly. And that could be a nightmare if you're in there with a dog already, right? It totally annihilates the option of that, right? Not a good situation. So that's why you want to stay in the black kennels. Where do I find the leashes? I'll show you this on the tour, but they're hung on the wall by some cabinets. Towels and toys are also going to be in cabinets in there. Sometimes I can't find those things in there, and you can just ask a staff member, like, where can I go get more toys? Or it looks like we need more towels or something like that. They're there to help you for sure, and they're so appreciative that you're there. Don't ever hesitate to ask the staff a question. Okay? Water. So there are dog bowls for each of the dogs in their kennel. We don't keep water outside because it can become cross-contaminated. It's just not worth it. But we do keep the water bowls filled at the kennels, and there's like a watering can, like you would use for flowers, and a special sink area that I'll show you where you can fill that up, and then you can just go 1 to 1 to 1. They're kept pretty full, but you do want to keep an eye on that because we don't want our dogs to be dehydrated. Okay, so human body language. So let's go over a couple of the things you don't want to do with a dog here, and that you or at least don't want to do until you've gotten to gauge them and their behavior and what they're comfortable with, and they've gotten used to you. So there are things you might do with your own dog at home that would be different than here, and this is one of those examples. So with my dog at home, I can go up to her and go like this. You would never do this to a dog here. You don't want to get in their face. This is really like a sign of like dominance or like I'm taking you over. You've seen dogs sometimes when they play or sometimes when they're about to not be as playful and they throw that one paw over, right? That's kind of defining like I'm over you. That's what they're doing there. So the dog's going to take that if you do it that way as well. Like I said, you really don't want to get in their face right away. You want to approach a dog from the side. You want to be as unimposing. You don't want to stare directly at the dog because that's kind of a you want to go kind of thing. For a lot of dogs, they'll read it that way. So you don't want to corner a dog. When you're going into the kennel, you don't want them to feel like they're trapped maybe in this one area. That said, you definitely don't ever want to be where the dog is between you and the way out, just in case things go sour, right? But dogs will feel threatened if they don't feel like they have some options. So you don't want to kind of go into the kennel and back them up into a corner when you're trying to put the leash on them to take them out. Don't pet the dog on the head at first. And this is what happens with kids, right? Because they come up, and they want to go right to the face because that's what they're used to doing with people and things like that. I've found that a lot of dogs, this is pretty soothing for them to kind of pet them from the underside. But yeah, you just don't want to mess with the face initially. Keep yourself between the exit and the dog while in the kennel. Avert your eyes and turn sideways, like I did before. Show calming signals if the dog is stressed. So we're going to talk more about calming signals, but let me just give you an introduction to what I mean about that. So this is all about reading the dog and their stress level. And you can think of it as calming signals are things that the dog will do if they're stressed, and they're doing them to kind of calm themselves down. And it's similar to what the people have the same idea, where they'll do things that you can read and you can tell that they're stressed out. So if I was about to be in some play and it's opening night and or giving a speech or something, I might be on the side kind of breathing like this. And so you as another person can relate and you can tell like, that means she's nervous. But I'm also doing it to kind of calm myself down, right? And so dogs have similar types of behavior for them that means they're calming down, but is also something you can read as a signal. And what's really cool is sometimes you can do the things back to them And then they'll be like, oh, you're nervous too. Okay, you're not a threat, right? So we'll talk a little bit more about those in a bit. Skip dogs that make you feel uncomfortable. You should not at all feel like you have to walk this dog, and then that dog, and then that dog, and then that dog, or even get them all out, or someone the last hour got all of them out but this one, so you really need to take this one out. If you're not comfortable with that dog, you should not take that dog out, right? That's a negative for you and for the dog. And people can be uncomfortable with an animal for a multitude of reasons. Maybe you don't feel like you're that strong, so you want to avoid big dogs that you feel might drag you around. Maybe you had a really bad interaction with a Jack Russell when you were a kid, and you're just kind of afraid of them. That's fine. Like, there are plenty of volunteers, everybody's helping. Don't feel like you have to take every dog out. Or if it's dog, like this dog seems lovely, and I get in here, and then she starts growling at me. Now I'm not so sure this is a good idea. I don't have to commit. It's, I came in, the dog thinks I'm taking her out, and it doesn't mean I have to if it's gonna be a bad situation, right? So don't feel you have to do that. Animal body language. Okay, so I'm trying to think if I want to show you the video first, or I'll tell you first. I think I'll go through this first and then we'll watch the video. So calming signals for the dog is looking away and breaking eye contact. So you probably have seen this with dogs that are nervous, right? Where they don't really want to kind of look right at you. It's almost like at a party, like I don't want to look right over there at that person, right? I'm a little nervous about that. Full body shake off when not wet. You see that sometimes when dogs have been playing rough, and then they both jump back, and then they both kind of do this Taylor Swift, like shake it off thing, right? So that's a way of them kind of relieving some stress. So if you see them doing that, that's what they're doing. They're calming themselves down after high activity or after a stressful situation. Yawning when not tired. How many people have heard of this one before? Yeah, a couple people. With people like Caesar and Victoria and all these people on TV, you've heard of a lot of these behaviors, but we just want to go through all of them. So yawning when not tired, that's a stress type thing. Blinking slowly or squinting eyes, that's a little bit like kind of sizing things up, right? Sniffing at nothing in particular on the ground. This is one of my favorites because you can just tell they're like, doo-doo-doo, I'm not even paying attention, there's nothing over there, I'm not afraid of it. Dogs do, it's very similar to people, I love that one. One other thing about the yawning thing, that's one of my favorites too because I've actually used that with dogs to let them know that I'm not a threat. So if I can tell a dog maybe it's backing up, it's averting its gaze, it's doing some lip licking, which is another one if they do kind of like snake, like lip licking. If I see a dog doing that, I swear to God, sometimes what I've done is I'll get low, I'm at the side, and I just go. And I get the funniest looks from some dogs because they're like, what? It's almost like, you speak French, what? They can't believe, their language. So you can try and do these things back to them. So whatever they're giving to you, give back to them because that's your way of saying I'm not a threat. It's making you're kind of saying I'm nervous too. You're not because you know what's going on, but you're making them think, yeah, I'm nervous too, I'm not a threat. And they're like, oh, okay, I'm not stressed out about you anymore. You're not trying to dominate me, you're not trying to hurt me. An extremely stressed dog freezes and holds their breath. In those cases, you want to back away because something's about to happen. You're better off with a dog that's barking violently in your face than one that is doing that and then suddenly freezes. Because freezing is preparation. Freezing is it's like quiet before the storm, right? So really watch out for that. Quiet doesn't mean, oh, now I'm over it. It means I'm getting ready, right? So this is about a 2-minute video that's just going to demonstrate some of those postures that I was just talking about. To see what you can recognize. These people are obviously British, Mum. This dog's really trying, like he wants to be comfortable with the situation. So it can be very subtle. You see how the dog's just kind of slightly looking away. It's not turning his head or any of that. So in each of these slides, we're going to show you, on the left is the approachable dog or the dog that's doing fine. And then on the right is the dog that is having some sort of a stress or showing some calming signals that you want to be more cautious approaching. Okay. So here on the left, one of the things to look for is a relaxed mouth, which could be like a smiling type thing in a way. So this dog's mouth is relaxed as opposed to here. See where it's closed. Anything that looks more like preparing to do something, that's one of your cues. So relaxed, the tongue's hanging out, he's so relaxed. And his ears are up, and this is just a reminder that it can be breed dependent. So you can't always say, well, if the ears are up, it's alert, or if the ears are way back, then it's upset. You got to think about where the ears normally fall on that breed of dog. Now this dog here, unless you've just been playing with it and he went over there to sit down, if you came into this situation, this dog is kind of claiming things, right? He's got his ball here, he's claiming his blanket, his mouth is closed, not relaxed. So here we've got a relaxed dog, it's sitting down, and there's a difference, you guys know, for a dog you have it sit, and then you go down, but the dog that's down is kind of doing this, you know they're not really down. When they do that kind of hip over to the side, that's much more relaxed and they're not about to jump up and do something. Doesn't mean that they're not relaxed here, but you can feel a little bit better if the hip is over to the side. This dog has a relaxed posture, no hackles showing, though hackles can just mean playful excitement. Again, take more than one data point. Relaxed mouth. Over here, this is a very different look, right? He's so focused on you, staring. The mouth is closed. The ears are in a different kind of position, taking more of a read or getting ready to go forward with the face. Relaxed, not relaxed. This guy's got a little bit of a furrowed brow going on too. Okay, so there's a lot going on here. This poor dog on the right. So totally relaxed, even the ears are relaxed, the eyes are soft. The mouth is open. This dog's happy playing in the lilacs and just hanging out. Over here, someone has come upon this dog who was on the bed where he's not supposed to be. And then they let some little kid now is like coming at its head. So this dog is not happy. He's yawning. He's got whale eye. So whale eye is when you can see the whites of their eyes. And it's not because they're opening their eyes bigger. It's because the skin is contracting on their face. That's what's happening. It's being pulled back away from the eyes. So watch, if you can see the whites of a dog's eyes that you would normally see, I mean pugs or some of those bug-eyed dogs, you'll see that anyway, but that's definitely something to look for. That's a high stress whale eye. Now I would say a little bit, this could be an eye aversion, so I wouldn't be totally comfortable with this dog because if he's only looking away from me all the time, then I think he's nervous, but if he's, just happens to be looking away for a second, that's okay. Relaxed, relaxed. This dog is lip licking. You can see the whites of the eyes. Oops, it doesn't get an arrow, but you can see the whites of the eyes. And the ears are back too. So it can be very subtle. This guy's happy, he's ready to go. And what's nice is the people that have him on a nice loose leash, which is helping. Here, part of his stress might be that they're pulling on the leash and making it more taut. But this dog's looking away, whites of the eye, mouth closed. He doesn't want to get involved. His ears are down. He really wants to get out of that situation. Okay? Fluffy and cute on both sides. And this might be okay if you just played with the dog and he ran over there and sat down. So again, it's about the situation. There's a lot of white there. Okay, same sort of thing again. Lip licking, maybe guarding his, whatever that is, blue bowl or flying saucer. Happy, not so happy. furrowed brow, mouth closed, protecting something. Here's another example of that, sitting over on the side hip. Like, this dog is so chilling right now. This dog is almost like it went from this to this, like someone came in the room and now it's alert and ready. And the reason for this is it's showing that the paws are kind of ready to move forward. So what this is about is this 1 second later slide, is that even a dog that has been having a great interaction with you, it can shift. If something sets that dog off or gives it some sort of a stress, just be aware that it can change in an instant.